Butelezi, and welcome to the Balcony Talk. Hello guys, welcome to the Balcony Talk. My name is Bridget Kimberly Nkosi.
Hi, welcome to the Balcony Talk. My name is Mercy Banks. Hope you enjoy the video.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Balcony Talk.
You're welcome. Today we're going to be having a little talk, and I'm discussing with the ladies here today, and they're going to introduce themselves briefly, after which I'll pose the question and then we'll start the talk for today. So I'll start from my far left.
Hello guys, my name is Bridget Kimberly Nkosi, and I'm Christian. Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Tosin Butelezi. I am also Christian.
Okay, and you?
Hi guys, my name is Mercy Banks. Of course, I am Christian.
Okay, and I am your host, Tosin Banks, and welcome again to the Balcony Talk. So today we're going to be looking at a very, very sensitive question. And the question is, why are there so many single Christian women when the general desire is to be married?
Thank you. I think that firstly it is because our definition or our understanding of what a relationship which leads to a marriage is and how it is supposed to be done is a bit different and is somehow misunderstood. And I've seen that we define it in different ways, even in church. We as women, we have our way of defining the relationship, and the guys in church also have their own way of defining the relationship. So at the end of the day, when we come together, it won't work.
Okay, all right. Talking about definition. So what is the definition from the women's perspective?
Of a relationship?
Yes, from the Christian women's perspective.
Okay, I think generally a relationship should be two people, men and women, coming together to get to know each other, to find out their compatibility in becoming life partners in marriage. So I think that men and women do that in different ways, right? I think maybe one party might focus on other aspects which might be contrary to what the Word of God says. And I think the minute that one party is not on the same page with the other, then things are bound not to work out, like she said.
Okay.
So, for example, I mean, the Bible tells us that it gives us one guideline when in relationships, that we shouldn't be having sex before marriage. But people do their own things these days. Sometimes women as well, but mostly men demand to or require having sex before marriage for whatever reasons that they feel fit to, before they determine whether they want to marry a woman or not. But we know according to the Word of God that it's not supposed to be that way.
Okay, so now we are going a bit deep. Okay, so now you said some of the things is that guys, most especially, would want to go for sex before marriage, and you said though both sides, but more from the guys, they want to, for whatever reason, want sex before marriage.
Most of them, they want sex first before they marry or before they make it even a decision. They take sex as, they say sex is like another way of communicating. It's another way of bringing us together. But to me, as a Christian woman, a young Christian woman, I take it that that is not right. That's not true, because that's not what the Bible is teaching me. And I feel like my sisters have said before, the way people take things these days is different. So to me, I think we now mix the world with the Bible, put it together and make it sound like it's a correct thing. And also now, what do the church really teach us as youngsters as we are growing?
So, does that mean that you can't, in today's world, does that mean you can't have a relationship without sex?
I think the way we think and we make decisions is influenced by what we hear and what we see around us. And so I think that has influenced how relationships work even in this day and age. We see, the media tells us through movies or things like that this is how relationships work these days. That we barely see a relationship that leads to marriage without there having been sex before. And also practically outside of what the media tells us or shows us, we also see amongst our peers that people who have sex before marriage, they still get married. Not all of them, but it's not as if it cancels out or it destroys the possibility of marriage, even though the Bible does say that we shouldn't do it beforehand. So I think, like Mercy also did say, that the times we are living in, things have definitely changed from before. People are doing things in this certain way, and so it's become an accepted way, an accepted norm of doing a relationship. And some people, I think.
Can I just add to what she was saying? When you go deep talking to maybe guys, I have friends, guys, they will tell you that why are you being old school? And why are you being boring? So it's like when I refuse, which means I am being boring, and at the same time I'm being old school, that one is like it was done in the olden days. And as well, I am being boring, which means I do not really qualify to have a relationship.
So
a lot
now,
of people put it that way.
So now it means it's a bit difficult to have a relationship without sex in this age. Is that what we are trying to say? Is that what you're passing across?
It's a bit difficult when we put it that way, because for goodness sake, we've been in relationships. That is why we are saying as ladies that these days it's a bit difficult to have a relationship without having to have sexual intercourse with the guy, because almost even in the church, you have brothers in the church, you meet brothers from different churches where we go and visit, but still that same brother that is in the church is saying that we have to do this thing so that we can be very close. How does sexual intercourse bring people to be close? That is what the world has classified it to be.
So how did we get here? How did the young people get to the stage where they believe that relationship is all about sex?
I think it is because it's not only because of how exposed you've been to the social media and to the television. It's also because of how we've been raised. And I've seen that. I grew up in a rural home, and I remember that when actually it's like guys were taught to go and experiment out there, whilst women are taught to keep themselves for the husbands. But men are not. It's not like men. It's not really important that they keep themselves for the women that they're going to get married to. So at the end of the day, who are they going to be experimenting with? And in those experiments, they might end up with maybe pregnancies, and then they end up with those women. And at the end of the day, with the way men are being raised, and with the way that media is talking about sex, our movies are talking about sex, and churches not talking about sex, at the end of the day, we get used to it and it feels so normal. I remember back in the days, it wasn't easy to see a kissing scene on the TV.
Yes, true.
We couldn't, but now we can watch a movie right now and see a kissing scene. It's fine. It's not that much of a like something that is, So I think it's all that that has made people to get used to the thing that it's fine to have sex, and because we have our friends having sex before marriage and getting married, they have beautiful weddings.
Okay, so back to our question. So now the reason why most Christian women, the young women from the church, are not getting married is because they are refusing sex. Is that what we are aiming at now?
Okay, I'd like to add. I mean, I don't think sex is the only reason. I think it's one aspect.
Yeah, it's
So
just one.
it's just one of the aspects.
Yes.
There's definitely, I think, maybe people failing to find compatibility, and also not knowing themselves enough to be able to identify who they would be compatible with.
Yes.
And I think on top of that, also being Christian means that we've given our lives to Christ, so He's in the driver's seat. So as much as we take steps in our careers and in studying, and we always ask the Lord to lead us and to help us, it should be the same in relationships. I think there's also that confusion as to, should I hear from God? Should God tell me? Does God tell you who your spouse is, or should I choose for myself? And how does God lead you or help you to choose this kind of partner? So I think that it's a combination of all those things. I feel like it's interlinked. Knowing yourself, understanding who would be compatible for you, knowing where you're going, so your purpose, like that, so that you can know when you're choosing the right partner. So I think it's a combination of all those things, as well as
just one more thing on why the other reasons besides sex. I think what I've noticed is that we are not really taught about relationships until we are in relationships, and most of the times we are already broken. We've been hurt. We've gone through a lot, and by the time that we are being taught how it's done, we are damaged, and it's difficult now to get into the right track, because we are not in the right state of starting something. So I think it is also very important that before someone gets into dating, they know how it's done, what they're supposed to do. Why are we even getting into the relationships? Because I know personally, when I got into my first relationship, it was basically because people were saying that I'm having a boyfriend, and I wanted to prove to them that I can. Because people were talking about it. We think that she has a boyfriend, we think she has a boyfriend. And I said, okay, but I don't have, I'm going to have one. I was young, and in that, I ended up getting heartbroken. And after that, we respond to heartbreaks in different way. And those heartbreaks changes the way we see how a relationship should work. And at the end of the day, we are meeting two broken people trying to build something, and we don't even know how to build it.
Okay, so what is expected of the church that the church is not doing, and what is expected of the parents that the parents aren't doing?
The parents should at least have a stand when it comes to some things. In my house, we don't dress this way. In my house, we don't talk this way. In my house, we don't go out and come back by this time. There should be rules that are set. You have a discussion with your child, and at the same time, you make the child understand, okay, you know what, you are the child and I am the parent. Here, we set the rules, this is what happens, this is not what happens. At the end of the day, when we think about it very well, on what I'm trying to say is that When you look at it in the olden days, we had fewer of teenage pregnancies. We had fewer of single mothers. They were there, yes. I'm not saying they were not there. They were there, yes, but it wasn't so much like it is right now. Because somehow, sometimes when you go out, I begin to think, my daddy said this. The moment when I'm beginning to think about something that I want to do, because my daddy has taught me this, my mommy has taught me this, sometimes I feel like it does something to your brain. There's nothing like, and then I met him and then something happened and then it led to something and then something happened. I think also with parents maybe consistently like doing something when it comes to their kids and all those kind of things, talking, having a discussion, understand how I feel, understand how I do things and all those kind of things. Let's have that relationship when it comes to those things. I think also that's like important.
Okay, then aside that, don't you think parents also need to lead by example? Like children watch the parent and they see how the relationship goes and they learn also from there.
Yes.
How from their mom and dad. I think brokenness could start from there as well. A child being broken and having the wrong perspective about a relationship starts from there as well. When the parents are not working out the relationship in the right way.
Yes.
So I think that's another way of the parents teaching the children, because now children learn with what they see.
Yes.
More than what you say to them.
Yeah.
So I think talking about parents, we can also look at it that way. It's not only you're not supposed to have sex before marriage.
Yes.
And all that. What if a child is already seeing the father sleeping around with women? What if he sees or hears about the mother sleeping around, or the parents are not together, and then it has caused a lot of challenge in the life of the child growing up. So I think that is also an aspect that should be looked into, that to be able to help our children as they grow up. So having talked about that, what do you think it's important that the church do?
When I look at a church, when I think about church, I think of a place where broken people, people without fathers, people who come from broken families, all sorts of people who are not, to say in the societal sense, whole, come together and who are basically seeking God through His Word for to fill those holes that we have. So since we are living in an imperfect society where there's a lot of fatherless children, a lot of broken homes, then the big opportunity comes in church, where we can sort these things out, especially with relationships. So churches should really be teaching according to the Word of God how we should be doing, how to do relationships, and how to be able to abstain from sex before marriage, to understand ourselves, seeking God, purpose, to deal with things like healing from the things we've been through. Because like she said, when two broken people come together, it becomes a bit of a difficult thing to merge.
Sure.
And if people don't understand, or they're not even aware of the fact that they are broken, or they don't even understand themselves or where they're at right now, it becomes even more difficult to try and merge yourself with someone else who's got their own past, their own baggage, their own brokenness. So I think then the church has a big role to play, because they sort of link all these aspects together, especially when it comes to relationships. So I think it's the perfect place where a person can start working towards rebuilding themselves, finding themselves in the Word, because it's all interconnected. Unfortunately, it's not just a topic on its own, marriage like that, relationships on its own. They're all interlinked, because it's two people from different backgrounds coming together as one. And even the process of what we like to call these days courtship as Christians, even that process is not an easy one, and it's something that should be taught on, so that everyone can know, because we all know what it is that how we should be behaving, what we should do, or what things we should try and stay away from to avoid things like maybe sex before marriage, or so I think it's basically just a lot of teaching, and just filling the gaps that we all have, the different gaps we all have.
Yeah, I think there's really a lot of work that needs to be done, because people are dealing with a lot of things that sometimes they're not comfortable to go and talk about them to their pastors, and these things are affecting our relationships. Nowadays, internet access is very easy, even to a 13-year-old. So we find 13-year-olds getting into pornography, and that leads to masturbation. And when that happens, this is something that is going to affect relationships, number one, because once a person is into that, the person is going to need sex in a relationship, and it's not going to end there, it's going to affect our marriages. So we need to talk about, because these problems are real. This is happening in our societies, and this is affecting children even in grade 5. I remember at some point someone came to me and said, I saw my little sister, she was in grade 7, masturbating in her bedroom. She didn't see me, and she went to ask the sister, and then she said, someone from school told me. And she was saying, can you please come and talk to her? And I really didn't know where to start, and I said, can you tell your mom or tell your pastor? And she was like, no, I don't think she will be ready to face what's going to happen afterwards. So I'm seeing that people are afraid of going to their pastors, people are afraid of going to their parents. And these are things that are really hitting our society. So I think the church really needs to do something about it. The more it is talked about, the more we are comfortable to go to them when we have a personal problem like that. But we can't, because it's like it doesn't exist.
And I think, just to add to that, how the church or pastors talk about it, when they do talk about it, affects how people view leadership and church when it comes to approaching leaders in church with these issues, when they need to face these things. It's not enough just to condemn and judge and say masturbation is wrong, you shouldn't do it. It's not enough. I mean, I think we generally know right and wrong. We generally all know that we shouldn't be having sex before marriage, we shouldn't be doing all these things. Pornography is wrong.
But how do I solve it?
The thing is that we need help. Basically, people need help. So judgment from the pulpit is not going to help, because no one wants to be judged. No one's just going to open themselves up to someone, just making them feel even worse for what they already know they shouldn't be doing is wrong. So I think the way that leaders and ministers in the church present themselves in front of the church is very critical. It's very crucial, because that's also how we see the matter, and how comfortable we are then to approach them and tell them that we are experiencing these issues. I'm sure leaders have had issues that they've struggled with, that they've been able to conquer. So different issues, and opening up about that and saying that, okay, I struggled with this, e.g. I'm just saying randomly depression or this, and this is how I was able to conquer it. Then give someone in the church who hears it the confidence to go up to someone and say that I'm also struggling with this, can you help me, or things like that. So I think that similar approach needs to be taken even when it comes to anything relating to sexual issues or anything in that umbrella.
Okay, so more like pastors shouldn't be like they are saints from
Yes,
from the
superior human
beginning,
beings who don't do
Okay.
anything wrong.
who has never
Who are
done
perfect,
anything
yeah.
wrong.
That doesn't
So
count.
they must let the people know that I was there.
Mhm.
Now I'm out of it, so
Yes.
people can be able to approach them easily.
Yeah, try and be
Yes.
my friend. It's not only pastors.
Ministers, any
Ministers.
leadership
Yeah.
in the church,
Okay.
whether you're a Mamfundisi or
The
an
mothers,
Youth leader.
elder, whatever it is, as long as you're
Yeah.
a leader in the church,
Yeah.
their approach.
Let's not
Okay.
generalize and say the leaders. I think we shouldn't put it that way. Let's just say the church itself, because when we say the church, we mean me and you. We ourselves as a person, as a church as well. Like, we are the church, isn't it? To me,
More like you shouldn't also judge each other so that you can be able
Yes.
to relate well with
yes,
each other.
I'm trying to bring this to a place that is leveled, because when we say the leaders, fine, the leaders, they have their own part, yes, because they are leading us somewhere, somehow, the way they talk about the whole issues and all that, sometimes it really breaks people down, and that's why you find out people leave the church, people break up, and those kind of things, because I heard that I came to tell you something and then you went to tell somebody and then that person also tells somebody. The whole church now knows. How did the whole church know? Those things also, they matter. So when I'm saying us as a church also, we matter into this thing, is that we should be able to stand for each other. We should be able to be there for each other. We should be able to say, okay, this is what is happening. This is what is happening. How do we face it?
I get what you're saying, but I feel as though even in a church, when there are leaders and followers they imitate what they see their leaders do.
Yeah.
So if leaders amongst themselves, if the way they communicate and behave in front of the church is a certain way, so what you have just spoken about, supporting each other, being freely speaking about the issues that they've gone through and how they've overcome them, they set the tone for how we see things as well and how we communicate with each other if they first behave in that way. So I think that's the most effective way to bring about change. If the leaders are like this, it becomes very difficult, even though there might be some other few people in the church who are talking about other people behind their backs and things like that. It gets pushed out because the majority is looking and listening to what leaders are saying and doing.
Mm-hmm.
So once they see a certain way that things are done, and leaders basically they set the tone, they show how things should be done. Once people see that, they also start to imitate that behavior, and slowly it gets pushed out. You end up not having space anyway if you are against what the general tone is in a church. So I think that they really do play a huge part. And say okay, the congregation decides this is how we're going to do things now. But as long as the leaders are not with that program, I don't think it's going to be effective or successful, because them being the way that they are, even in the Bible, that it talks about the oil going down Aaron's beard. It starts from the top. He's the leader is the one that really sets the tone for how the church is going to be and how the church sees things.
Yeah, I understand you, and I wasn't really trying to put that on the side. I was just trying to add also that we shouldn't, as well as the ones that are following our leaders also, we've learned one or two things. Also, whatever that we have learned, we should try, when you see that, okay, this is not right, we should try as well, be there and try and fill up a little bit of some spaces, because our pastors also, they are human. You understand? Yes, it starts from the top. The top must lead, yes. But we as youngsters as well, as we are growing, I feel like, for example, let's say the topic that we are talking about as ladies, that, okay, what is really making us we're not in relationships, we're not married, and all those kind of things. There's different things that are attached together to this whole thing. At the same time, if I'm to give you an example and say, we as a girls in the church also, what are we doing to help each other? Fine, it starts from the leadership. The leadership, when you look at their marriages, be like, oh my God, this marriage is so nice. Their relationships and all that, the way they lead, the way they take things, the way they do, it matters. We learn from there. So what I am adding to this whole thing is that we also as a youngsters, as we are growing, us as the ladies, as we are seated here, what exactly have we done to help each other? It also matters also to this whole thing, to contribute and say, you know what, okay, for us to be better, why don't we have this thing we meet together? Guys, what's going on? You're still single, what's happening? You two, you're in a relationship, what happened? Fine, people cannot open to one another just like that, but friendship can just start somewhere, somehow, help each other, and something can come up from there. You might never know, and maybe we might have a group as ladies, and from there people might help each other. No, you're not supposed to do this way, try and do this way, learn to do this way. It might help, and then at the end of the day people get married from there.
All right, so I think the last question I will ask, I'll take you a bit back, is this: does that mean, I want to ask that, because when you were talking about, we're talking about Christians here, right? Christian ladies, Christian guys. Now, if you are in a relationship with this Christian brother from the same church, or maybe from another church, and then this Christian brother is asking for sex, and this Christian sister says no, what happened to that relationship? Does that Christian brother break up because the Christian sister said no?
Most of the time there's a breakup, and most of the time there's like, it's okay, babe, don't worry, it's fine, I understand. But the moment when I stand up and walk out of that door, somebody's coming in.
So the
or
brother
somebody somewhere
breaks
somehow
up at
replace.
the end of the day, breaks up with you. So does that mean the brother wasn't taking the values that you are supposed to take as a believer, as a Christian in the church? And this could be also applicable to the ladies. You know, when maybe you're in a relationship and the lady is the one demanding for sex and the guy is not interested in sex, and then there's a breakup. So what happened to the one demanding for sex?
We do, but the values.
No. What I'm saying is, what happened to him or her? Why is she the one demanding for sex, and why is he demanding for sex? Is it that he's not taking or he's not hearing the word enough, or what?
Okay. On that, I think we have a lot of Christians. I remember at some point I was talking to some people that I think this generation has a lot of pastors. This generation has a lot of churches. But this generation has different types of sins that has never been seen before. This is the generation that has a lot of homosexuality. It is the generation that has people, transgenders and stuff like that. A lot of things are happening in the same generation. So when we look at it, we realize that it's like we're diluting Christianity. We are seeing Christianity, we are defining Christianity in our own way. We choose to take a certain part of the Bible and choose to leave the other parts. So at the end of the day, when I'm in a relationship with someone like that who is a diluted Christian, we have Christians that on Saturday, it's fine because we hope that one day God is going to fully revive them. But we have Christians, we have our brothers on Saturday at the club drinking. On Sunday, they are our guitarists, they are our keyboardists, they are our worshippers. And this is happening, and it's normal. So at the end of the day, we do have our brothers and our sisters, but are we really deep into the word? but we are living like double standard lives.
So the value,
Yeah.
the Christian
Yeah.
value
It's not there.
is not there
We are
any
Christians
longer.
on Sunday. Yeah, we are Christians on Sunday when we go to church. And then Monday to Saturday, we are living a different life.
So now, anyone trying to uphold the Christian values will be missing out, or will be like a miss out in the society.
Sometimes they do appreciate, especially here where we are staying. I've met guys and then they say, okay, can I take you out for a drink? And then you say, I don't take alcohol. They'll say, wow.
In this generation.
Wow, that's beautiful. I respect you for that. And then you even meet a guy and then you say no to sex, and he says, wow,
Like
that's
really?
beautiful. You know, they'll appreciate it, but they won't want
can't
to be
stand.
with you. That's what happens. They'll say, okay, that's nice. I really hope that you find a guy who will
who will take care of you, because
Yes,
I don't think I can.
Yeah, I respect you.
I
There's
respect
nothing
you.
wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I really wish I could be with you, but it's just that we don't understand each other. That's
So now it means the guy he has gone so far that he cannot do without it.
Yes.
And it's not only guys.
It's
we-
both
There are
sides.
women as well.
Yes.
I think people come from different backgrounds, have experienced different things. So I did know a Christian guy who said that when he was still early in the dating stages, he had a girlfriend and they agreed that they will not have sex before marriage, but he caught her cheating, having sex with another guy, and she said it was because he didn't want to sleep with her, but he thought that they were on the same terms, and from then on he made
changed.
sure that yes, in every relationship he was in, he was having sex because he didn't want
Anybody
to be
to
cheated
cheat
on. So that's his own experience. Someone else might be thinking that looking around them, they're seeing their peers get married and they're having sex before marriage, and she's not doing it and it's not working out for her. So she decides that, okay, if I just do this, then I'm likely to get married. And then other guys, or even ladies, both women and guys, I've heard them say that there's no way they're going to get married to someone that they have not
Tested it out.
experimented with, because they want to see if they've got skills. They're going to marry someone who doesn't have skills. I've heard it from both guys and girls. I can't say it's a guy thing. I've heard it from girls as well. And it just right now, even in our day and age, it honestly seems like the in thing, because teenagers are saying, I've watched, we've seen videos circulating on social media about high school girls saying, you're still a virgin in this day and age, you're playing, that thing is nice, you should be engaging. They say those things. So there's all of those mentalities that are circulating. So also people have been molested and abused sexually, and some women, or a lot of women I've seen, I've read as well, I've heard, who have been raped have issues moving forward because they felt like when they were raped, the men took power away from them, and now they think that if they freely give sex, then they are taking that power back. So there are so many psychological things that are affecting one's decision to have sex, or not to, or to want it, to demand it from the partner or not to.
Okay, so now I think we'll be closing now. So now I believe that we have a lot of work to do in restoring those values, those Christian values back. So it's not only from the church angle, parents, even in schools, even teachers in schools, and everywhere that people gather and meet, where you can relate and associate with one another. I think those are the places where we need to come back and instill these values again. So the pastors, also the leaders, must come to a place where they must let the people know that I was once like you, and if I can be what I am today, you can also get out of this mess. So people will be able to open up freely and be able to say, okay, Pastor, this is what I'm going through. How can I come out of it? And I think the same thing goes to the parents. Parents are also superheroes to children, which is true. It's good to be a superhero so that they can look up to you, but then you must also let them know that you have passed through their stage before, and then you have gone through you have made certain mistakes, and you don't want them to go through those mistakes. You don't want them to repeat the same mistakes. You must come to that place. So I think generally pastors, teachers, parents has a lot of work to do in restoring sanity to the generation that we are in now. Yes, you want to say something?
And sometimes it doesn't have to be, because maybe sometimes they haven't been through all that, but when they talk about it, it doesn't have to be like, it's okay to rebuke sometimes, but sometimes when they talk about it, they must know that there are people sitting in there going through some of those things. So it's not like they have to, because I know parents most of the time, they'll be like, how can you do something like that? Or maybe they hear that a child from next door is pregnant. They come, if I ever hear that you are pregnant, you will not sleep in this house. So obviously, when I get pregnant, I will not come home, or I will go and abort on my own. And then the moment you realize it, maybe I'm sick, maybe I've gotten an infection out of it, maybe I'm dead, but I was not going to abandon you, my child, but it's already too late, because of I knew that you were not going to talk. I wasn't going to feel safe talking to you about it. So it's how they talk about it when they're generally talking about it. They must know that these things are happening, and it could be happening to the people that they're talking to.
Okay, so we'll end it here today. I'm only speaking to the sisters today. In our next edition, we're going to be speaking to the brothers. And then we're going to be asking the question, why are there so many single brothers in the church? And then we're going to bring the sisters and the brothers together in another episode where we talk about it. And then we're going to see from which angle we need to bring solution in. And there will be another edition where we bring in the parents, another edition where we bring in the pastors and the singles, and then we'll be able to iron these things out properly. So this is just the edition for the sisters. Thank you for coming. God bless you. Thank you for saying all your mind. Nobody is judging you here. Nobody is saying anything wrong here. We are all open up. And thank you for watching. Please, I want you to subscribe to this channel. Please like the page, and please share it with your friends and loved ones. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you. God bless you. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Mercy Banks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned a lot from there. And we just want to say Happy New Year. There, if you have any question, please say something under the comments, and please subscribe and share. And as well, I'd love to hear from you. Much love.
Welcome to the Balcony Talk. I hope you really enjoyed our video. Please subscribe, like, share. Please leave your comments as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well on the issue. So I think it's a very interesting topic that most people are interested in. So please do leave us your thoughts, and enjoy the video.
This is a very interesting show about Christians and non-Christians. So subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to like and share the video, because we are about to do